let's say like if a Chinese girl dates white guy, people are often like, oh, she only likes white guys. She's like, she doesn't like her own race. If it's a Chinese guy dating a white girl, they're like, oh, good job, well done.
And this is OD, episode 1, take 1.
I judge Asian women who only date white men and vice versa.
Three, two, one.
Oh no, again?
I personally don't judge others because I think it's their own choices.
How are you feeling?
I'm nervous. I thought there's gonna be a table and more like a chat. I didn't realize it's like all professional.
Nah.
I'm Georgiana, I'm from China. I'm single now. I just broke up with my ex-boyfriend, he's Italian. And before that, my boyfriend before him he's Australian.
I would judge people under one condition, is when they do not own the fact that, okay, your preference is only this race. My name is Yeung. I was born and raised in Shenzhen. If we look through your, let's say, your ex, XXX, all white, and then you don't own the fact that, okay, I probably only date Asian women, or like, I probably only date white men. If you don't own this fact, and then you're like, oh, like I do it by the personality, then I will start to judge you. I
remember some colleagues asking me, do you prefer like dating white guys more, or do you like white guys more in terms of Asian guys? But I always have just told them it's not like that. It's just the person you happen to meet.
There is a defining characteristic of women who only date white men. Vote.
I don't think you can say there's something that all these people have something in common when they're dating someone in this kind of interracial relationship. My name is Bram. I've been living in Hong Kong for 4 years. You see a lot of this kind of dating patterns in the city of like this kind of combination of Caucasian man with Asian woman is quite common.
I've heard some white friends, guys, saying that it almost sounds to me like dating Asian women, especially like Southeast Asian women, they consider it as like a second choice, a choice where they can't get other women.
Did you see this guy? I would have punched him. My name's Joey. I'm 27 years old and I'm from New York, born and raised. My first boyfriend was Vietnamese actually, but he was also very Americanized. And then after that, in college, I started dating outside of my race, white, Spanish, French.
I think it's the sense of like entitlement. Like they all have something that their own race doesn't have. In a way, they kind of want to be different, and from their race, they want to set themselves apart.
Asian men are often celebrated for dating white women.
Go. All right. Almost unanimous.
Okay. I'm currently dating a local man. And I guess we had some pretty interesting interactions in public places.
So my name is Salome. I'm from France. I haven't much experience in dating. I've dated 2 people in my whole life. One was Caucasian and the other one is from Hong Kong.
This waitress that was, I don't know, like 40-ish, maybe 50-ish, that was like talking to him in Cantonese. And I was like, okay, so something's happening. And then at the end, he translated that for me. And it was literally like, it was her asking, oh, is that your girlfriend? And he would just say yes. And she would be like, oh, good job, you know?
Again, I feel like they give that leverage. It's kind of like, because white people are on the top ladder of this social like status.
From a statistic point of view, when you go out, you tend to see more Asian females with white men rather than the other way. So I feel like just because you don't see as much makes you more excited or more hyped or more celebrated. My current partner, she's from Brussels, Belgium. People sometimes make comments, but not necessarily negative ones. For example, my friends would be really encouraging, like, oh, where she's from, and then, you know, how do you guys meet?
I'm learning so much. The prize is whiteness, right? So it's also racist. Yeah.
Sorry.
Even though it's like it's not necessary, you know, being celebrated is nice and it's like not a very harmful thing, but the reason why it's celebrated is...
It's sad that people feel the need to celebrate for you. I wanted to, let's say, my grandson to live in a world that says, okay, it's so common, like any race to date any race, nothing to celebrate here. That would be good.
White people are attractive to all races.
Vote. Okay.
I mean, potentially, you know, anyone could be attracted to a white person. I don't think there's like any specific, you know, group or whatever that would definitely not, you know, be attracted to white people. So, in a place like Hong Kong, there's still something attached to whiteness. Still, you can see, you know, like in advertisements or films, people they tend to pick people with lighter skin, which is considered something more kind of beautiful or more attractive.
I disagree because it's just, again, it's preference.
Well, of course, they're very attractive white people, but they're very unattractive white people too.
Beauty standards are made accordingly to white beauty in general, and it hasn't been very much diversified lately. Once again, it's a question of preferences, but there might be a form of, how can I say that, like inequality? Like aesthetic inequality in the representation of it. Asian women are sexy, but Asian men tend to feel wimpy.
All right. 3, 2, 1, vote. Please vote.
Okay, I'll be the first. So I disagree. Well, I think culturally speaking, like very traditional, let's say Chinese men have, they're probably very attached to their families or, well, let's say parents. Like this is like, it's just traditionally what it is, like my dad is like this. But it doesn't mean they're wimpy in a way. I think it's just a different culture.
Every culture has developed its own kind of gender markers and the ways we can, that is allowed to behave.
They just say like colonial cliches comes from both sides.
There's this kind of terms like the yellow peril, which was like a very common stereotype in like mid-20th century America.
And if Asian girl were first century represented as this like very young, petite, skinny thing that you had to protect, and that was like cooking well and being very obedient.
Then led to, you know, films being made in Hollywood where, you know, if there's an Asian man, it's either someone who is kind of funny or someone who is dangerous, but it's not someone who could, you know, be like a love interest or someone who is like the hero.
Well, white men has always been portrayed as this like warrior conqueror that would actually like take over the world and protect you. And
most of the Asians they encounter are their physical attribute. Asian males, maybe they're skinnier than on average like a Western male. In Hollywood movies, like, oh, you guys are always playing the nurse or the kung fu guy or the karate kid, but I feel like you know, Asians could do hip hop, they can do skateboarding, they can do so many other cool stuffs. You know, you don't have to have 6 packs and then super huge bicep to call yourself a man.
It is racist if you prefer not to date outside your race.
All right, I'm gonna give you guys a few more moments to settle that in. I know that's a huge question.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
All right.
All right.
Okay.
Okay.
I mean, no, you don't hate on the other races. You're just, you know, I'm more comfortable. Maybe you're used to seeing your parents like interact and you feel, or you find comfort in that. Growing up, like my mom would joke around and say like, don't date like blacks or like Hispanics because they think that they're no good. For sure we had that like pressure of not like, you know, dating outside our race.
And how do you normally react to that?
I would just laugh it off actually. Like I would just think that they're kidding around, but I know for sure they're like serious about it.
Because I was with my ex-boyfriend for a long time, and my mom, well, at the beginning, she always had, she had this worry about it. She kept asking me, it's always about food. She kept asking me, do you guys, like, do you eat, what do you eat? And usually I'll tell her, oh, well, we cooked at home, we had pasta, and she'll say, like, are you okay eating pasta all the time? Like, do you guys eat the same food?
Sometimes also maybe the fact that we don't want to date other races is because we attribute some characteristic to them. This is how I was taught to perceive them.
So the French government has created a form of hierarchy in between races, with people, I would say, coming from Africa and Northern Africa perceived as the one that act badly.
Yeah, I think racist is also like this kind of loaded term. I think it's often kind of used to as a comment on someone's personality, as if like racism is some kind of personality trait. But then I think it's you know, more and more now we are looking at how racism is structural, right?
I think what Bram was referring to is implicit bias, and then those are the biases that comes into play without you knowing that you have this. So yeah.
All right, guys, thank you so much.
Thank you.
That's a wrap now.
Thank you.
Thank you.